Dear listeners, here is a detective story prepared especially for you. Tune in, think hard, and join me on this detective adventure. Let's start with the first episode of our detective series, The Innocent Morning Glory. One summer morning, a chemical plant was engulfed in flames, and firefighters fought for a long time to put out the fire. After careful investigation, the police found obvious signs of arson at the scene. Another investigation revealed that the researcher Tom and the chemical plant's boss had a serious disagreement, and they almost got into a fight over something. Today, early in the morning, a garbage-collecting old lady said she seemed to have seen Tom passing by. Upon hearing this news, the police chief called on ex-detective to drive to Tom's house to find him. After knocking on the door a few times, the back door opened, revealing a gentlemanly, middle-aged man wearing a pair of glasses and a striped shirt in beige. He didn't look like a ruthless arsonist at all. "We are the police, here to investigate an arson case. Where were you around 4 a.m. this morning?" Tom calmly replied, "I was at home. I live alone. I have something that can prove my innocence." Tom took out a stack of photos and said, "I got up early this morning to capture the blooming scene of morning glories. They usually bloom around 4 a.m. and finish blooming after an hour. Here are the photos I took." The police chief carefully examined the photos and confirmed they were taken early this morning. He also checked the camera used for the photos and confirmed that there was no possibility of automatic shooting. The police chief looked at ex-detective with a puzzled expression. Ex-detective confidently said, "Yes, morning glory is a plant with a strong flowering schedule. It indeed blooms around 4 a.m. every day, and the whole process takes about 45 minutes, but this doesn't necessarily mean that Tom is not the culprit." The police chief shook his head and said, "How could that be? The photos were taken until 4:45 a.m., and the fire had already occurred by then. His alibi stands." Ex-detective smiled and shook his head, saying, "On the contrary, I believe the arsonist is most likely Tom." This is Ex-Detective, where each episode is an independent, entertaining, suspenseful, brain-burning, and purely detective story. Join Ex-Detective and uncover the truth behind each case. If you like it, subscribe, burn your brain together, reason together, and solve cases together. We're waiting for you, The Innocent Morning Glory. The truth of this story is that Tom tried to use the blooming time of morning glory as his alibi, but it exposed his guilty conscience. He covered the bud with a cover, which delayed the blooming time. Upon returning home, he took off the cover, captured the blooming process, and wanted to use these photos to prove his absence. However, his unusual behavior of taking photos of flowers in the early morning aroused ex-detective suspicion.